I'm Natalie Kunsman, MD, and today's topic needs to be shared with nearly everyone because we have a lot more information regarding sleep. So, what is the importance of sleep? Well, right now we sleep about 1 hour less than we did 50 years ago. And interestingly, prior to that, we had two phases of sleep. So we had one at sundown till about midnight. And then typically we woke up and potentially we had a little snack or did a little activity. And then possibly we went back to sleep from about 2 a.m. until sunrise. Now, ideally, we need 8 hours. Currently, adults are getting 6.5 hours a night, and unfortunately, a lot of teens are only getting 5 hours of sleep on a school night. And years ago, we used to have the thinking that as we got older and we had less sleep, we had the same architecture of sleep, but we didn't need the same amount of sleep. But that's somewhat untrue. The quantity and the quality of sleep affects our mental health and the way we relate to others. And we are finding that poor sleepers have higher rates of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and stroke. Now, REM, which is rapid eye movement, and light sleep have similar wave patterns as to our waking brain waves. But the deep restorative sleep we now know has delta waves, which are markedly different than those other waveforms. So as I said, there's a lot of new information on this topic. We now know that sleep is crucial to create memory and help the hippocampus. So there were some studies, and of course I can't take credit for any of this information I'm presenting to you. I am compiling the data that exists from other sources. So in Germany, there are some studies that they performed on infants who were given some tasks. So essentially, they were given these infants some tasks, and it was a 3-step task that they documented and demonstrated to them. And there was a group that took a nap after being shown these tasks, and it may have been anywhere from 1 to 4 hours. And then there were infants who were not given the ability to nap after these tasks. And those infants who did not have a nap did not perform the task or the 3-step phase of activity with the stuffed animal that they were shown. But those who were given the nap immediately after the training, after they woke up, they instantly went to the 3-part tasks. So obviously that means that sleep plays a role in our laying down of new memory. And deep sleep even molds our personalities. Sleep helps with our creativity. We've also discovered that men who only get about 4 to 5 hours of sleep at night only have about the same testosterone as those men about 10 years older than them. We have a breadth of research that has been done and is currently being investigated that poor sleep is contributing to Alzheimer's disease. We also know that those restorative delta waves are going down with age. So let me explain that a little bit. In other areas of the body, we have a lymphatic system that may either deliver or drain nutrients from the tissue the gut system, into the bloodstream. And the lymph system is somewhat of the garbage collector from the cells and will flush some of that debris away and the byproducts in the lymph system by dumping them back into the bloodstream so that they can be excreted. Now, the brain is the one organ that doesn't have a lymphatic system. So what we have discovered is that we have cerebral spinal fluid that bathes the brain. And that is necessary for daytime activities and sending nutrients and proteins throughout the brain. But at nighttime, what they have found in the University of Colorado is some studies where the brain neurons will shrink at nighttime. And what that allows with that shrinkage is to allow more of that CSF fluid to bathe around those vessels. And that is where the brain will flush and release some of the toxic debris. And that is only in the sleep state. So the removal system that the brain has created in the CSF is the dumping of beta amyloid plaques. And beta amyloid is some of the leftover cellular debris throughout the brain's functioning throughout the daytime. And that is what is getting flushed away. Now, beta amyloid plaque buildup is something that we see readily and which is almost the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease when we talk about the plaques and tangles that we see on autopsy with the brain parenchyma. So again, sleep is the only time that the brain is flushing the beta amyloid plaquing through the CSF. Now also circadian rhythms tell us the light from dark and talk to the pineal gland, the thalamus, the hypothalamus to signal sleepiness and bedtime, that it is time for bed. In today's new world, we have a lot of light pollution that prevents the days and nights, especially in some of the bigger cities. So our brain gets quite confused when it is day and when it is nighttime. So sometimes we have discovered that playing bursts of sound at nighttime that can mimic the delta waves will actually improve and create more of those waveforms in sleep. And that's a study that was done at Penn State University. Now, for that Alzheimer's patient who really needs to eliminate the beta amyloid, there are studies where we are delivering some electrodes through waveforms and not sleeping pills, which has helped double the amount of memory to those Alzheimer's patients. Now, interestingly, there is a county in Minnesota that delayed the school start time till 8:30 in the morning. And what they discovered is that if those students had a lot more sleep in that county, their SAT scores markedly improved. The behavioral problems went down. Truancy rates went down. And taking this a bit further with some more studies with teens, teens were studied in Wyoming. And when they had delayed school starts, they had less car crashes. So, of course, we have mice studies for a lot of what we are researching. And there are sleep-deprived mice. So sleep-deprived mice had larger tumors and much larger cancers that metastasized when we were studying cancer growth. Also, our genes will break down in 6 hours or less of sleep. So if we have poor sleep, our genetic breakdown occurs much more readily. So, of course, a big portion of our health and wellness, which I have stated over and over and over in a lot of my previous videos, is that we need to fix our sleep. So we need to keep good sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene are some of those great ritualistic behaviors that help us improve sleep. So we do better as humans having a ritualistic cycle. So a ritualistic wake-up time, daytime activities, and a ritualistic pattern of behavior to introduce sleep at nighttime. We need to exercise in the daytime and not nighttime. Let us keep in mind that the bedroom is for sleep only. This is not where we want to keep our TVs blaring, our music blaring, and the light stimulation, and presume that we're going to just be able to fall asleep when the TV is playing in the background. That does not work. That being said, we want no 450 nanometers of light, which is coming from our electronics, because that decreases melatonin. And melatonin is needed to signal the pineal gland that it is time to go to bed. We need to avoid alcohol, smoking, and caffeine prior to bedtime. Those are all prostimulatory, even though we think alcohol and smoking may promote the sleep onset. They are not sleep aids. The best temperature for sleeping is anywhere from 60 to 68 degrees, and that has been researched. We need room darkening shades. We must lower the sugar and carbohydrates before bed, but fats have been researched to be good before bedtime. Magnesium is our natural skeletal muscle relaxant, and it does wonders before bedtime in addition or separate from melatonin. So we can supplement with melatonin as well. We have chamomile and lavender essential oils, which has been known to promote good sleep architecture. Let's get back to some of my favorite topics, which are the waveforms and the sound, which is beneficial. And as a reminder, delta waves and bursts of those delta waves at nighttime are already being researched in Alzheimer studies and do help promote rich restorative sleep. So sometimes you can set your cell phone or your devices to play delta wave rich quieting music for before bedtime. Try to make sure you have LED lights in your bedroom and not the fluorescent lighting. Interestingly, there is some banana tea that has been promoted to helping in sleep. I wholeheartedly embrace yin, yoga, and even just simply lying in the shavasana position. And I have had sleepless nights where I went into my yoga room and I simply laid in the shavasana position and I had good initiation of sleep. I just want to make one comment. Of course, I'm a physician. Of course, I do a lot of prescribing. But sleep medications are sedatives and they do not improve sleep per se. So I hope I have given you some of the newest, the latest, the greatest topics on sleep so that we can improve our life in our human body. Subscribe to my channel below, and until we meet again, be well.